Let's see what she said.
All right, Muhammad, are we ready to go?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to creating a FreeToastHost site. Yay! So tonight we're going to learn a few different things.
Okay.
We're going to see how far we're going to go with it. We're going to start at the beginning. This is going to be a multi-part series, so we're going to see how far we go tonight. We may have to just continue to extend these sessions as we dive a little bit deeper and deeper into the FreeToastHost. But our objectives for this FreeToastHost learning is learning how to get a FreeToastHost site. Some of you may have a site already, some may not. So we're going to go ahead and start. Our first topic is about how to start the site. And then once you actually have one, becoming comfortable with the admin console. So even if you've had a site before, there's a lot of new reporting and new things that you can do in the admin console. So we'll kind of go through that. We're going to determine the appearance of your FreeToastHost site. There's some themes you can do and different things that you can do to make your site dynamic and engaging. And then understand what tools you can use for membership management. FreeToastHost has a lot of things in the back end in the admin tool that will actually help you with your membership management. And then building out an agenda template, something that you can use every week, every meeting. You could do a couple of different agenda templates depending on what type of meetings you want to have. And then finally, we're going to gain a little bit of knowledge in dues management. So that's the objectives of the FreeToastHost web series. So tonight for our agendas is going to be the creation of the FreeToastHost site, and then go through website settings, membership management, email and contact forms, the meeting agenda settings, dues management. And since I have a full screen up, I can't see when people are raising their hands or anything. So if you just have a question, feel free to interrupt my ramblings. All right. The first thing we're going to talk about, of course, is creating a FreeToastHost site. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your club's information is set up correctly at toastmasters.org. Is the right email address on there, right day and time of the meeting? All of that information should be updated correctly at Toastmasters International at www.toastmasters.org. And then once you do that, you're going to go to this link here, which is the toastmastersclub.org/welcome. And it's going to ask you a few different questions in order to create the site. One of the first questions they're going to ask you is, what is your club number? And so this is going to be the actual number. If you don't know your club's number, you can get it at the toastmasters.org website. You're going to need to know your name. Hopefully you already know that. Your email address. So the email address that you typically will use most often when doing the admin work. And then just so you know, there's no data sharing between Toastmasters International and FreeToastHost. So that's why when they verify the new site, it looks for the email address on the find a club page on the TI website. They're not together, so that's why you have to make sure that you have all your information correct on that website. All right, any questions so far? All right, so whenever you create one, you're going to get an email from FreeToastHost. It's going to look something like this. Congratulations, it's going to tell you the club site address you have, and then it's going to give you a login and a password. So I hid those for this one, and then lets you know about the quick start guide, support, and everything else. All right, so from there you're actually going to get a URL, and you'll see that it's typically something.toastmastersclubs.org. Now, right now, when it first starts out, it's the club number with no leading zeros. So, for instance, if you are a club 234, you're not going to give them the 5 zeros that are hanging out in front of it. It's just going to be 234. If you're a club 7747, it's just going to be 7747. My Blue Note speakers is 01551226. So those leading zeros, it's just 1551226. All right. FreeToastHost has a quick start page with a lot of helpful hints. So if you go to support.toastmastersclubs.org, doc item quick start page, they have all types of information. So when you're really starting to build out, if you have any questions, you can always hit that page, and it's going to have a lot of ideas, a lot of information for you to use. So let's go ahead and just look at this particular one. This is a brand new one. Muhammad just had it created. So we're going to take a quick look at it.
Can we click on it?
I got it.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like when it comes out the box.
Yes.
So you can kind of see here, not a whole lot of information on it. There's some things that just come straight out of the box. And so what we're going to work on next is actually making this into a little bit of a more dynamic page, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the website settings. Whenever you get your site, you're going to want to launch the admin console, all right? So you see there is the launch admin console under logins, and then you're going to get a module. So the first one is called website settings, and you'll see that website settings actually has multiple tabs underneath it. So we're going to go through each of these tabs and kind of explain what each of these tabs do. Starting with basic settings. This is going to be where your club's name is, and it's going to be the one how you want it to appear in reports and the banner heading. You want a description of your club. So this is what's going to be showing up in the search engines. So as you can see, like, we're a Toastmasters club located in Nowheresville, North Carolina, focusing on helping members improve their public speaking and leadership skills. We meet every Wednesday at 6. So this is like when somebody is looking up something that, like, ooh, I'm in Nowheresville and I need to meet and I want to do public speaking. This will help the search engine find you. And then you want to do keywords. These are going to be the metadata for the search engines, the tags. And it's going to be public speaking, leadership, Toastmasters, Nowheresville, North Carolina, speeches, confidence, whatever ones that you really want for your clubs. It may be things like impromptu, or you may also add things like advanced or public growth, you know, just whatever you think that it needs to be that correctly describes your club setting and what you want people to think about when they're searching for your club. The next thing that you're going to look at in basic settings is your website alias. So this is where you can use this in place of your club number in the URL. And I do recommend doing this because somebody who is looking for your website is not necessarily going to look for 7747, but they may look for New Orleans or Hammond Tangi, or they may look for something like that. So it makes it a little bit easier when you're doing your website. this is something new that FreeToastHost added, is this HTTPS policy. Now this is about security. When you can select whether you want the system to enforce the usage of the encrypted access. I would recommend doing this, and it encrypts your connection between your browser and the FreeToastHost server. Depending on if you have something at work or you have something somewhere else, you may have to toggle this policy, but I would recommend keeping it on the standard of just requiring it to be HTTPS. And then you have your preferences. So Toastmasters, of course, being international, they have a lot of things that you could choose from in your time zones. Of course, we're all central time zone out here, so you just want to make sure that it shows a central time zone. You want the time format, so it'll allow you to do, let's just say you meet at 1 p.m. It will allow you to have 1 p.m. written as 1:00 or 01:00, just depending on how y'all want your time format to look. You can have a short date, so do you like your short dates to be month, day, year? Does it need to be year, month, day, month, year? However you want to do it, there's a short date preference that you can have. And then the same thing for the long date preference. How do you want it to look if they put the whole dates out there? And finally, language. You can choose, its standard defaults to English, but if you would like it in a different language, go right ahead. This might be something interesting for maybe the bilingual club when they're doing their FreeToastHost. It might be you could possibly choose Spanish and see how that goes. But it might just be an interesting thing to play with. And then there's the appearance. So we've got our basic settings, the things that say like, okay, the background. Now what's the actual appearance of your pages? So the first thing you want to do is look at your banner text. And so when you're looking at your banner text, I'm actually going to pull this up real quick. When I'm looking at my banner text, that's going to be right here. And so what do you want your banner text to say? Do you want it to just say Toastmasters Club, blah, blah, blah? What do you want it to say?
You mean like that picture? Oh.
Yeah, no, like the banner up at the very top. You can enter something different. Yeah, so right now it says Toastmasters Club 6814901. But maybe instead I want to put, welcome to the Lake Charles Toastmasters Club. You could put that as your banner text. The other thing that you can choose is your color theme. So this is what comes standard, which you'll see is the nice blues and reds, but you can choose. Sometimes they have a yellow, they have a couple of different options that you could do for your theme. And also with the menu style. So when they're talking about a menu, that's this part over here. This is your menu. Come on, show the menu. That's right here. So you can actually choose those menu styles, their colors, and those fonts too. And then you can show or hide menu links. So there are a couple of different things that you can add here, or you can remove as you need. So maybe you don't need a club calendar or public downloads. Maybe you don't need that. Just depending on what you want, you can actually show or hide them. For a club that may just be using this for PR purposes, maybe oops, sorry, I went too far. Maybe you are a club that has an internal site and you just need this for public relations purposes. You can turn off all the members only things, which is the meeting agendas, stuff like that. You can turn this stuff off if you're just wanting this for public relations purposes. Okay? For your average club, they're not going to need to do this, but it's always something interesting to note. As you're also going through this, you can play with your main heading, and that's the title of your opening section on your home page. You can have a custom heading over here, and it's typically to describe the content in the next section, the home page content. And of course, the content is the main focus of your home page. It has both images and text. It comes standard with this nice little one here, but what's even better is if you have pictures of your own people there. What are they going to be walking into? What do they expect? Okay, hey, here's the Lake Charles folks. Here they are taking a big picture together. Woo! You can have that. It gives a little bit of a little more engagement instead of seeing some stock footage of random Toastmaster number 1. There's also a part for the reference notes. When you're setting up your page or when you are acting as an admin for a page, you're not necessarily going to be the admin for this page forever. Something may happen. Somebody else may want to do it. You want to make sure that you keep notes in the reference notes. What did you do with widgets? What's Flash? Did you have special features? Where are your pictures stored? How do I insert pictures? Where do I find them? You want to keep that information in your reference notes. And of course, you can choose your background color, which is typically white, but you can change it to whatever color you want. I will warn you, because Toastmasters, this thing does not. Be careful with your colors. It's not 90s website. Nothing needs to spin or sparkle or be virulent on your eyes. You want to make sure that your website is nice to look at. It's engaging, it's dynamic, but it's also nice to look at, and it's not pink and fuchsia, okay? So keep your color schemes in mind as you're kind of building this out. The next part that you're going to want to get to is your meeting information and your directions. And so you're going to use this page to provide full information about your meeting, which is who can become a member, how often do you meet, what days do you meet, where do you meet, just whatever you need to let people know about your meeting information. A couple of examples, since my home club is in Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana, I need to make sure that people know which building to go to because I'm on a 3-building campus. What floor do they need to go to? Is there a particular meeting room? I know for downtown Toastmasters that meets at Sparkhound, they need to let them know about how do you get into the building because technically Sparkhound is closed when they leave. So this is a great place to put that information for people. And of course, again, there's a reference note. So if you have special features on there or you want to do that too. And then there's a Google Map address and it's got an iframe. And then you can actually type your address into this field and it will recognize where you are. When you click save, there'll be a little map that will show up on your page so that people can go, oh, okay, I see where it is. And of course, you can set the background. Yes.
I'm sorry. Can you show us on the actual site itself where to enter the meeting info?
Sure.
Thanks.
So when we're over here, we're going to launch our admin console. So if I'm over here for meeting information and directions, so this is your first part here. This is where you actually put in your meeting information. We meet every Wednesday at 7:30. At Bluebonnet Library. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can put whatever information that you want on here. Then if you come down here, this is where it's the reference pages and things like that. And then, so for this one, is to be determined and go Louisiana. All right. So that's where it is right now. But let's just say I'm going to put this. I'm going to put 5525 Wrights Avenue. Okay. All right. Let's go see if I can see this map. There it is. Okay. So this is where it's going to show up. So when I save this, and I come here to the meeting information and directions, here it is, and here's my little map. Okay, so you can actually see it, and I can actually get directions from here. I can save it. So it works really well when you're trying to do this. You can, if you have some technical ability and you want to get really into it exactly where you are, there you can go and do some of those types of things. But I for the most part, if people just know where your address is, they can see it, and they can also scroll with it. It's Google Maps. They can scroll with it. They can zoom. I gotta hit the control button. They can zoom in if they need to see more information. Oh, look, here's a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so that's the meeting information and directions. But if I want to go back to it, let's just say I put some information in it, but something changed, and now we meet at Thursday. So now I can actually put Thursday, and I can tell people, come to the back lot. We're waiting outside.
Mm-hmm.
You can also use this. This works really well if you need somebody to call ahead. You can put that information there. So, for instance, if you need to escort somebody, you can let them know through here, hey, call this number before you arrive, or call so-and-so and let them know that when you arrive, so that you could be escorted here. So it gives you whatever you want to put on there. You can also replace images, rotates, and things like that. So there's different web page tools that you can use for this. Check bad links, but we're not going to get into that right now. But just know you can do this. Now, you also have the ability to, if you know HTML, you can do it through the source, or you can just write it out and it will tell you. You can also use, it's just like Outlook, just like Word. There are bolding choices, italics, underline. If you want to do any of those things, you could put emojis, brokenhearted, whatever you want. But so make it whatever you want. And if you want to add you want to embed a YouTube video or some media, you can do all of that in this too. Again, this is your meeting information and your directions. Maybe somebody created a YouTube video about your meeting. You can put that information in there. It doesn't have to just be static text. Okay, so that's something really cool that they've added to it, is that it doesn't have to be static text. You can add whatever you want, however you want it. You can add emojis and make it as fun as you want it to be, to represent what your club is about and stands for. All right, so we're going to come back over here. All right, so now we're going to talk just a minute about social networking. And I'm sorry. So social networking, you have the ability to let people know where you are. Do you have a Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Flickr, Google+, Meetup, all kinds of other things? You have the ability to add those logos onto your site. So we're going to come over here.
Rebecca, can you maximize the screen, please?
I'm sorry?
Oh, never mind.
So we are going to maximize. So this is the, so let's just go over here. So this is your social links, all right? So if you know your Facebook URL, you can add that on here. Twitter, YouTube, let's see. I'm just going to do Facebook. And then, I don't know, we're going to put like District 68, which I think is D68 for our Facebook page. I have to go back to it. But let's just say that one. All right.
Okay.
Your Twitter URL, YouTube, LinkedIn, Flickr, Google+, Meetup. So especially for those of you who are starting to get into the Meetup, this is a great place to put it. And then if you have other social media websites, you could put those in if you know what the website URL is, or the icons URL. So let's just say you're on Snapchat or Pinterest or one of the others. You can add those things in there too, so you can get on there. And then, of course, what I would recommend is login details. So whoever is taking over for admin, they're going to need to make sure that they're on the right one. So give them the login details in the notes section so that you can go back to it. It's a great place to put that information instead of trying to pass it back and forth, back and forth. If it's here, it's always living here. And then what happens is we come on here. So now that I've put a potential place, look, here's the social media link. So it'll add these icons. So anybody who's coming to your site can go ahead and click on that. You can also do, if you're doing Eventbrite, you can also do Eventbrite on here too. And let's say that you use Eventbrite for your meetings to let people know when your meetings are. You can actually add that social media link to it. All right. And then, so I think that's for there. All right. All right. So then we have what we call floater messages. So the floater messages are really cool. You have your banner text. So that's what they see whenever they come onto the site. It will say things like, welcome to our club, or welcome to Toastmasters. But maybe you have a message for your members or your non-members. You can actually have that appear at the top of your page when someone visits your website. And it can be broken down. You can have it customized for your members and for non-members. So for right now, we are getting into membership renewal season. So maybe you put a floater message on your website that says, hey, it's time to renew your membership. Don't forget to see your treasurer. Maybe for the non-members, or maybe for members and non-members, you could put something about your club's next contest. Or maybe you're not going to have a meeting. Mardi Gras is coming up for some of our clubs in New Orleans. It may not be easy to get to a particular meeting place. Maybe your club has decided to cancel the meeting for that week, or maybe it's the day of Christmas. You can put a floater message up letting them know that, hey, we're not having, our next meeting is going to be on blah, blah, blah date. So you can use these floater messages as a way to do a quick, just little communication to folks that can be easily customized.
Well, will they have to click on the floater messages? It just come up by itself?
No, it just pops up. It just pops up, and I'll show that to you. And it's going to appear once per web browsing session. So let's just say it's not going to, like if you go into one part and then you go into another part, it's not going to keep floating up to you. It's going to just come on the one time. But keep in mind, if you close your browser and then you reload, it's going to appear again. So it floats one time per view, but then if you close out and you come back, it's going to show up again. So I'll show that to you real quick. So we're going to go to that part. Oops, wrong page. All right. So we're going to go to our admin console. We're going to go to a floater message. So let's just do and you would just do it for both. When we save it and we close it and this reloads, I may have to come out of it to get it to reload. We'll get it to load in just a minute. I've actually got it up a couple times, I guess. And then you can also look at access settings. So who should have access to what parts of the FreeToastHost site? You can delegate up to 3 club officers for different parts, all right? So it doesn't just have to be the admin that does these things. You can have it on your website settings. Who will have access to what we just, all those settings we just talked about? Who's going to have access to the membership management portion of the FreeToastHost site, who is going to be able to go in and edit the email and contact forms for our members and our officers, who's going to be able to mess with the custom web pages, which we're not going to talk about custom web pages right now, but you have the ability to create them. Who's going to have access to the file manager? This will typically be your secretary, because this is where you may store your pictures or other files that you want your club to have access to. And then agenda settings and templates. So that would probably be your vice president of education, maybe your president, and maybe the sergeant at arms or your secretary, who has access to the duels tool. And then who has the ability to create and edit agendas. So when that happens, whoever you designate is going to be able to have access to this. It's going to be included in the members only menu after that officer has logged in. All right. So when an officer logs in, if they have access to it, they'll be able to see it on their members only page. Okay. And that's going to be, to get to that.
Therefore, the 3 officers would be able to go through all these links that you just showed, or whatever that was.
Yep, and depending on which one, it depends on what they have access to. So if you'll see under members only, you have the ability to, like right now, I'm not logged in, so I don't have the ability to click on any of these. But let's say that I set the dues tool to be accessed, it would actually show up in my members only spot. Actually, I can actually bring you, let me show you. Let's see if I can spell this evening. Okay, so this is the Blue Note speaker site. I'm still playing with it, so please ignore it. But you can see under members only, you see how I have access to membership renewal, membership management, email and contact forms under the members only. That's because I was given access in the when they were setting up this part of the website. Okay. So as a member of it, I can actually go to the email and contact forms, and I have the ability to do things in there.
So Rebecca,
what this will do is,
Rebecca, to be clear, under the members only section, not all members will see all of those options, right? It's only select members.
Only if you were given the ability, the access to see it.
Right.
So
okay. Just thank you.
When as a regular member, I may only see these things because I haven't been given access to see anything else. But if I'm given access as an officer, I might have the ability to see one or more of these.
Sure.
I'm currently the president, so I can see all of it. Mm-hmm. And of course, you also have the ability to, as the administrator, to go in and change the information for your registered website administrator. You may be the administrator now, or somebody else is, and you may need a new administrator. You can go in, you can change that, you can change your password, whatever you need to do inside this part, the website part of it. All right.
Rebecca, question.
Yes. Yes.
Could you please show that configuration on the website where they can select that kind of control?
Yes. So here we are with this one. I'm on our launch admin console. And then for access settings, this is where I could do my access settings, where I could say, hey, select your officers allowed to access to your website. Okay, well, that might be, maybe that's my president, maybe that's my immediate past president, and maybe the vice president of education. All right, and I could close those. And then who's going to be allowed to see membership management? Well, that would be the vice president of membership and maybe my president. And, you know, maybe my treasurer has access to do that. For this, and you have the ability and the right, and I would talk to your club officers about it, of who would do this. Because maybe it's only allowed for maybe only the admin should be allowed to play in the email and contact forms. Or maybe it's a vice president of membership and that's it. You could choose up to 3, but you don't have to choose any. So let's just say I save this. When I come here to administration information, okay, so right now it shows it's Muhammad. But maybe instead, Muhammad is no longer the administrator on this. Maybe now it's fallen to me. I can go in and I can update the name, the email, and I can even change the password if we need to, which is always a good practice to have. And then you can also have admin messages. So this really does help you as you're transitioning. So, or if you have more than one person acting as your admin. While there is only one admin per site, I know the security person in me says this should never happen, but in real life, there's only one admin on this site, but it may be shared by a couple different people. So this could be where you also are putting your notes to each other. It says, hey, I just changed this, I just did this. So you can keep that in mind when you're doing it. And I'm just going to close this out because I don't want to mess with it. The last thing is the website statistics. The last thing is the website statistics. This is really interesting because you can bring it down to who has been hitting your site. Where have they been hitting your site? Is there certain parts that they're going to more than others? You can start to look at those types of things as you're building it out. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So there are the Bing Webmaster Tools meta tags, so you can get those. There's Google, and there's a Google Analytics script code, and you can get that information from them. And if you put that stuff in there, you can enable your hit counter, you can reset it, you can change your colors on it. So it kind of gives you, if you're kind of wanting to know who's been hitting your site, how are they hitting your site, when are they hitting your site, what parts are they going to, these statistics and these analytics really will help you. If you, let's just say we enable a hit counter, and I'm going to change it to be black.
Okay, when you say hit, when someone hit it, does that mean they're trying to hack into it or they're using it?
No, that means they came to this page and they're like, oh, hey, look, I got one unique visitor down here at the bottom.
Oh.
Somebody came in. It just tells me how many people came and visited my site.
Okay.
So if somebody else came and visited the site, it would go to 2, 3. It just tells me how many people have clicked on and or come and visited this 6814901.
Have some, okay, tell you how many have visited the site.
Visited this site, yep. So even if you don't want to get into the analytics of things, it's probably still cool to kind of just look at, hey, how many unique visitors have I had today? You can reset it as often as you want.
Yeah.
Yep. So, especially if you're trying to like send people to there, you can kind of reset it every day and say, hey, how many people are hitting it per day? And it's not on here because we don't have anybody who is looking at it, but you can also look at it. I'm on the Blue Note speaker site, but let's just say, hey, this is my member access log. It actually shows me when people looked at this site last. So I can actually say, hey, look, Rebecca is logged in right now. Tundra came and visited 2 days ago. She came and visited 2 weeks ago. Hey, what's going on with these people? Some of these people who haven't visited in about 3 months. Maybe it's time for me to come poke them with a stick. So it's another great thing to use is your member access log to kind of see, are your members actually accessing and logging in and going to your site. And we don't have any members in here, so that's why it's not showing up on this one, okay? But you could do some statistics on here. And then this about, I'm not talking about it in this is just about FreeToastHost. So if you have questions, they have all the support, all the information. So you can kind of go through there at your leisure and just kind of see that. So this does change as things change. So I think we're on like FreeToastHost 2.20. All right. So what's our website settings? So we kind of went through each part of it, but this is the basic settings. So we have our club name here, the name of the club that's going to appear in the reports and in the banner heading. So we could change that to whatever we want it to be. Here's our description, our keywords. This is the alias. You could do a custom website domain, but you typically have to pay for those, so I don't recommend it. And that's the registrar information if you do decide you want a custom website. Here is where you can enforce them to have HTTPS, or you can have them to not enforce it. It defaults to do not. Here's your local settings where you are. So we're in GMT. We can look through it and kind of look for America Central. I think it's Chicago. You can have your preferred time format. So like I said, if you, however you wanted it a 24-hour, you could do that too. Your preferred short dates, long dates, and then right now it's just in English, but this might be something cool to kind of build out for later for some of our Spanish speaking or other areas. So click that. Your appearance. This is where you're going to have your banner text. They have the different themes. So this is theme 1. This is what kind of comes standard. There's theme 2. You see it's the blue and the yellow. So some people just may like that one. And the third theme is like the blue and the gray. So kind of decide what theme you want. You can also choose your text colors. What colors do you want? Your website, you know, all of the different backgrounds that you could want. You have your menu text size adjustment. So it could be, we make it a little bit bigger. You know, your menu style, there's accordion tabs. So let's play with accordion real quick. You could do a wallpaper. You can have an image and then the background, and then you can hide or have your meeting links. So this is an interesting one. So let's just say we have like a meet our members. For some places, maybe you can't have them meet your members. You can hide it so somebody doesn't click on it to come to an empty page. Or maybe you don't want public downloads or the free resources or the private member directory, Toastmasters videos. So you can choose which one you want to have and not have on your site. I mean, the free resources, the Toastmasters videos, things like that, member downloads, those come with Toastmasters stuff already built into them, so you don't have to build anything into them. But maybe you don't want the meet our members, or maybe you don't need the meeting information and directions. You know, depending on what you, if you're a closed club, you may not need meeting and information and directions. Maybe you already have that. So you can play with that and see which ones you want. And here's where you could just actually disable all of them. This is for your home page, so you can have a custom heading. You know, it could be something like, you know, welcome to our club. You can choose different pictures. You can put a video here from YouTube or, you know, from an external site. You can use this and just whatever you want to put. You have all of this. It's just you have the ability to bold. Sky's the limit for you when it comes to that. And then this is where you're going to put your reference notes. And then, of course, you could choose what is the color of your background. So we're just going to make it pink. So there it is. That's what it kind of looks like. It would be pink. You know, maybe that's probably not a really good color to use. You know, like I said, you can make it nice and purple.
No, that's not a good color. That's pink.
That is not a good color. I would recommend keeping it white.
Oh.
We don't want to hurt anybody's eyes when they come in and they look at it, but you kind of see now it says welcome to our club. You know, we can actually we can actually change that. So, and we changed you see that we kind of changed the colors. So this is what Blue Notes is like with the blue and the purple and the burgundy, and this is kind of like the blue and the gold. All right. And these are Toastmasters colors, so you're allowed to choose from any of those three. So kind of make it your own.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions about this part about the website settings? You know, we kind of went through
for a while.
Your homepage, meetings, social, floaters, you know, all of those are the good things. So the next portion we're going to talk about is membership management. Okay. So membership management allows you to have your contact information, so you're not carrying it around in a spreadsheet. Makes it easy to send them email address, to send them emails, to give them calls, all this other good stuff. And then you only have to enter in the person's name, email address, and phone number. So when you're on Toastmasters International, you can export your information from there. It's going to give you a whole lot more information, but the only thing that the FreeToastHost website is really looking for is their name, their email address, phone number, and potentially what officer role they play for Toastmasters. And we'll show you that in a minute where that is. It allows you to group information into a group. You can have your members, your prospects, your guests, your former members. So this is really cool. So if you have members that are just, you know that you want to keep their information, but they're not members anymore, there's no reason to send them agendas, dues renewals, and things like that. You can move them into former members, so their email address still stays current, but they're not getting bombarded by things that they no longer want. You can also do friends and affiliates, and then custom groups. So you can create your own groups that you may want, depending. And then here's the thing, only members are allowed to access the members only section of the website, and that includes your meeting agenda. So make sure that if they are a prospect, a guest, a former member, make sure they're not trying to access the meeting agendas or the members only sections, because they won't be able to access it. They will not let them link into it, okay? So only move them out of members if they are truly no longer going to be a member and no longer going to be doing things. You can also do a new member welcome, and I'll show y'all that in just a minute, which it comes as a standard email that when you put somebody into the system, you can hit this new member, choose them, and it will send them how to get to your website, what to do in your website, and the admin's information. And there are going to be some variables there in your curly brackets there for your website and the member being sent the message. So you'll see that in a minute, but just kind of keep that in mind. Yours is going to be different from somebody else's. So let's actually go look at it. Okay, so we're here under membership management. Now, because you see how I went to a different, let me close this and do this again. You see I went to a different module. We're under membership management now. So you can see this is where all the members, you notice that there aren't any members. You have prospects, your guests, former members, friends.
Okay.
To add a member to here, you notice that there's not really a whole lot of ways to do that. So we could do what we call a quick add. So you do a quick add, and then we could put somebody's name. So, hey, here's Rebecca. And we're going to just put a space. And then here's my email address. Again, I can't type. And then a space, okay? All right. So, and then add the following person as I can be as a member, a prospect, a guest, a former member, or a friend. I'm going to go and I'm going to go ahead and place myself in as a member. All right. So now when we come to the member, here I am. Here's Rebecca. So am I an officer? Okay. Well, maybe I'm president. Okay. And now I have the ability to do that. And then you can come in. This is new. This is a new part of the tool, is to edit their profile. So you can actually come in and edit somebody's profile. So I can check to be included in the public Meet Our Members page. And then I can also, I have the ability to say, I don't want my club admin to edit my member profile, but I'm good with it. So let's just say my email address changes. My admin can go in and help me do that. I could choose a secondary email address, my phone number. I could put, when did I become a member? Well, I became a member of Toastmasters in April of 2011. All right. So now I have, hello. Oh, April 1st. So now, it can be shown on the name tags. Do I have my member number? This is going to be something they're looking at for the future. So let's just say if I'm a part of a couple of different clubs, because my member number is linked, I'll be able to have some reports. You can also choose, do I have a mentor that's in the club? Maybe it's me. I am my own mentor. So that's my profile. So as an admin, I can come in and I can actually look at this and help view or edit their profile for if they have a phone number change or something else change. I can also do this new member welcome. So I'm going to send this to Rebecca, who is my new member. So you'll see these little curly cues that says member name. So this is going to say, hey, that goes to Rebecca. Welcome to, this is the club. So this is going to be my club's, 6814901. And then the URL, the web address. And then it's going to actually give them some information. You've been set up as a member of this website. You can do these types of things. Here's how you log in. And then, you can ask how anything you want to know. It's got the admin's name, the club name, and then actually the website administrator. This is a customizable thing. So you don't have to, this is a really nice message. So if you don't want to modify it, I wouldn't recommend it, but maybe you have something you need to add, or maybe there's more that you want to add to it. You can update your new member welcome message to whatever you want it to be. And at any time that you're like, oh, we've modified it too much, we can always reset it back to the default. All right. So whenever that happens, when I click this, it's actually going to send an email to Rebecca, letting her know that she now has access to the site. All right. And that is the membership management side of the admin console.
Hey, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Katie. Can you go back to the membership tab and kind of show how the tabs work together? So for instance, how you're listed as a member, but let's say you didn't renew your membership for whatever reason, and they want to move you to a former member. How do they do that? And maybe And then I have a suggestion after you show that, like how they can move in between the tabs as things change.
So I'm going to add a couple of y'all.
Okay. While you do that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm just writing stuff.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to mention was that this is a great tool if you have a laptop or an iPad or something to bring into the meeting. So when guests actually come in, you can actually have them enter their information in right there through the quick add as a guest, and they're automatically added to the guest list. And then once they become members, you just move them from guest to member.
Yep. So let's just say that John Smith here, he is no longer going to be a part of Toastmasters of our club. He moved to Texas. So we need to move him to a former member. So I can click on his name, and then I can actually select a tool. I can actually move him to one of these different lists. I can create him a custom group. I can send him an email. I can send him an email welcome. I can make a name tag here. This is new, making name tags for people. I can upload a member photo for them or assign a mentor. But let's just say we want to move him to former members list. So if I move him over here, it's going to move him over here. So now when I look at my members, John is no longer going to be here. But if I go to my former members, there he is. So let's just say I need to call him or send him a message. I can click this little follow up. And look, it's actually going to pull up my follow-up notes. How did I talk to them? Did I send them an email, a phone call? Did we meet up? Did we have something planned? So you can actually kind of play with that. So that's great for former members. It will actually do the same thing for prospects. So let's say we have Katie. Katie is a prospect for this club. We're going to move her to our prospects list. So if I'm on my prospects here, I can look, ooh, look. I can send her an email. I can put, if I have her phone number, I can put that in there. I can show, hey, here's my 3 follow-up dates. And this is what I did to follow up with them.
It's really nice.
This is also a great way. I actually did this Monday night. So I went and I looked at what members haven't been to a meeting in a while. And so I clicked on them. So Rebecca and Muhammad, they haven't been to a meeting in a while. So I'm going to click on them, and I'm actually going to go send them a basic email. All right. And so it could just be, you know, a quick check-in. No, I haven't seen you in a while. You know, hope you're doing well, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's a quick check-in. And then if I send the email, then it will just, all it does is shows that it's coming to them. It doesn't show everybody I sent it to. It just shows that particular person. And it shows that it's coming from Rebecca Arnett, DTM, on behalf of this Toastmasters Club. Okay. And that's pretty cool. So you can actually follow up with people on that. You can also create some email templates. So let's just say that you always want to create, like, somebody hasn't been, to 3 meetings. You want to create a 3-minute email template that just says, hey, haven't seen you in about 3 meetings. Wanted to check in with you, make sure everything's all right. You know, give somebody a call if you need anything, blah, blah, blah. You can save that as your email template, and then you can, every time you pull it up, you can do that. You can also set up email signatures. So maybe you want to set up where it's always this particular signature that's got, oh, I am the club, you know, it's Rebecca Arnett, Vice President of Membership. Here's my email address and phone number. You can set up that email signature too, so you can have a full-on, just looks like just as if you were sitting down on your Gmail or your Outlook, putting it in. You're just building it out here on Toastmasters, on the FreeToastHost site. And then There are also built-in groups, so you have your officers, mentor, mentees, and your dues not paid. We'll talk to about the dues not paid, well, next time, because it's already 8:30. So what we got through today is we got through membership management, and we kind of got through the look and feel of your site. So I don't want to keep y'all longer than what our agreed upon time was. Do you have any questions about what we've learned so far?
Yeah, generally, I think it's, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting, well-detailed web page. So it needs one going back to it and seeing how you can navigate. It would have been nice if we all were practicing as you're talking, but there's a lot of things, a lot of information, so that would have slowed you down. So I think we'll just go in and practice, and then if you have questions, we'll probably let you know.
Definitely so. So as you're going through this, I mean, I'm just showing you the basics of what you want, what you can do. I recommend play inside the tool. There's a lot of things you can do, a lot of things to play with, and you're always welcome to shoot me an email, give me a call, text me, whatever question you may have. I'm sure the same thing with Muhammad, with Katie, with Annie. Definitely welcome. You know, we're always available to answer any questions you may have and help you play with it and come along. We will be finishing the rest of this. We'll send out some additional information about going through the email and contact forms, dues renewals, and all that other good stuff at a later date.
Then, okay, other question I have is that does everyone have access to this free Toast if you just go onto the website and you're not even a member of Toastmasters?
No, you have to be Toastmaster.
Okay.
Yes, and you have to have a club because what they base it off if is your club's number.
Okay.
So you have to have a club number. So if it's a prospective club that hasn't got a prospective charter number yet or a charter number, you won't be able to build off the FreeToastHost site yet. But once you do that, you'll be able to build it out.
All right.
And then if your club may already have a site and you're not the admin, you are certainly welcome to talk to them about getting access to be able to do some of these things to build out the site and make it a little more dynamic in what you want it to say and do. And I believe it's also part of your CL is to help with the website management.
It surely is.
So you can get that check in the box right there.
Great job, Rebecca. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So I will let y'all know the next session and when we're going to have it. Like I said, if you have any questions in the meantime, do give me a holler, and I'll be glad to help you with whatever. I will see y'all next time. I'll turn it back over.
Thank you for all you have done and all the information you have given us.
All righty.
All right.
I'm going to turn this back over to Muhammad. I got to find it.
It's been very helpful. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
All right. Thank you.